Hi everybody, welcome back. I'm Sherry. Today's recipe is an ooey gooey banana nut sticky bun. For a list of ingredients, there'll be a link down below to the blog, which will have a printable recipe card as well. For the dough part, we're going to have all-purpose flour, warm water, an egg, yeast, salt, sugar, vanilla, some really ripe bananas, milk, butter. So we're going to go ahead and activate our yeast. In the milk butter mixture, we're going to go ahead and mix in the warm water. Yum. We're going to sprinkle on our yeast and set that aside for about 10 minutes to let it activate. And you'll know it's activated when it gets foamy and it gets that beer kind of smell to it. I'll show you when we get there. For the dry part of our dough, we're going to mix the salt and sugar. And set that aside. We're going to lightly beat our egg. We are going to mash up. You want bananas that are dark like this. That tells you that the sugars have fully developed and it's at its ripest. It's also a lot softer, and this is actually how we should be eating them. This is when they're actually more nutritious for you. And then we're going to mix in our egg. And our vanilla. Now we're going to go ahead and mix our wet into our dry. And our yeast butter milk mixture. All right, and when it starts to come together, we want to go ahead and switch. And turn out. And use flour when you think necessary. Alright, so I've been kneading for about 10 minutes. When you put a slight indentation, it bounces back, so you know your dough is ready. You're going to place it in an oiled bowl and cover it with a tea towel and let it rise for about an hour until it doubles in size. Alright, so we're going to do the caramel sauce. And we're going to start off with a stick of butter. To that, you want to add your brown sugar. Go ahead and add the walnuts. And then our heavy cream. Now go ahead and spread your caramel sauce into a glass dish. Alright, so we have a bowl of brown sugar. I've put some cinnamon in, and we're just going to give this a good mix and set it aside. Alright, on a lightly floured surface, you're going to turn your dough out And then you're going to roll it out. Now you're going to take your softened butter and spread it out as evenly as possible. Now we're going to go ahead and spread out our cinnamon sugar mixture. And you want to skip like the last, I would say, 2 inches, because that's where we're going to pinch our roll shut. All right. So now you're gently going to lift the edges. And this is probably the most tedious part. To the end. And as you get there, go ahead and pinch your dough shut. All right, go ahead and roll it onto the seam, so the seam's at the bottom. Now I'm gonna eyeball it and cut it about in half. You can use a dental floss for this too if you prefer. Now, the easiest way for me to do this is to do it in thirds, and then each third in 2, so that's 6 and 6, 12, right? Yep. At this point, go ahead and get your oven preheated, because once we get them in here, we don't need to proof them that long before they need to go in the oven. You want to let these rest for about another half hour, and then pop them in the oven for about 25, 35, maybe even 45 minutes. It depends on your oven. I'm gonna have to check on mine and tent it towards the end, because I really want to make sure that the center gets cooked and it isn't still raw when I pull it out, even though the rest of it looks great. And you might want to keep checking on it throughout the process as well. And there you have it. I pulled this out of the oven and I turned it out onto a cookie sheet. I placed the cookie sheet on top of the baking pan. Somehow my camera wasn't on while I was doing this, and then I flipped it. So everything is over. You're going to want to let this cool, because this is really, really hot right now. So in about, I would say 10, 15 minutes, you can start breaking this apart and eating it. Hope you enjoy.